ho ho. Jinda Taburzan. Bola Jumba. Kolamanunta Bajula.
Visiting hours are over, Jabba. If you're looking for your stolen artifact, don't worry. I've got it in safekeeping.
Garaupa. Lichara Consortium Asvari Balakinskedoska. Ipochiko Nawa Green Rachoda.
Please send an associate to pay me a visit. I need the company. You'll still never find your lost ancient artifact. What a shame.
Paraunki andos nagara famonok jolampo. Ieneto wanawanga. Chulapa chiento kaska. Ora wisha wala cheon kaspa.
The artifact now belongs to me. You can forget about getting it back. You may think you've wiped out the consortium, but my reach is farther than you think. You are the one who should be watching your back, Jabba.
Pesca bora na wana tunta, resebongo bora juntawa. Inapa noya, oya na wipe, lichiska.
Uri, come in at once. Do you read me, Uri?
Right here. We are in system as planned.
I'm accelerating our plans. Jabba has sent some of his lackeys to finish the job he couldn't. Get that ship landed now. I'll set things in motion here.
Captain Solo wanted more time to slip past the Imperial defenses. I believe I can motivate him with additional credits.
We need to make sure that neither Jabba nor the Empire has discovered the location of our hidden palace on Ryloth.
There has been no unusual activity near Ryloth. The Hutts are unaware of our palace there, and the Imperials have extended themselves trying to quell the rebellion. We will be able to expand our operations quickly upon your return.
The partnership with Jabba was a mistake. No more alliances. We're going to do this our way. We'll corrupt planets one by one and crush all those who oppose us.
Hello everyone, welcome to this FreeHolder Alpha 2 sort of introduction and walkthrough. I'm Chris Crooks, the lead developer of FreeHolder, and I'm basically going to take you through the new features that we've added for Alpha 2, and we got a lot to cover, and I just want to get through them so that you can go and try them out, so let's get started. So I've kind of rigged this game a little bit so we can get to the good stuff right away. Normally you don't start with an agent and a warrior, but we do. So let's see, I'm going to take a rancher and I'm going to take the new skill that we implemented in line with the animals major upgrades that we did for this alpha, Watchful Guardian, which helps keep away predators and also makes him pretty skilled at fighting with his staff. Now, one of the most common sense things that people requested was better controls, and one of the first suggestions we got was to add hotkeys to the characters to make it easier to move them around. So now, rather than having to click on the character and click on a tile like a caveman, you can hit 1, 2, or 3 to get the character and then just click on the tile. It's much faster when you get used to it. I designed the game and I'm still like not doing it every time, but you know, you people are fast, you get it. And so there's more things you can do with hotkeys. If you double-click a hotkey, you bring up the equipment ledger, and I might as well cover this now since it came up. One of the Alpha 2 upgrades we have here is a much better equipment ledger. And you can press the hotkeys to go and see the different characters. You can see 2 at a time. You can click anywhere to equip stuff, move it around, to mouse over skills to see descriptions and equipment. It's much more intuitive and easy to read than the last variation for those who know what that was like. So you can get to that by either double-clicking on the character or just pressing the hotkey twice. And you should know that the tilde, which is the key to the left of the 1, is sort of a general close-all key, and you can press it pretty much from any screen to get back to the main screen. A couple of other hotkeys. Tab will switch you back and forth between the map and the villa screen, so that makes it easy. And then also, if you want to take a look at the market quickly without having to actually go over and ship goods, you can press M. And it'll quickly just bring up the market, and you can see what orders are available without having to actually go through all the other hassle. You can close that or just press M again. So those are the hotkeys, and they really make playing the game a little bit faster and more fun. A fairly minor feature, but one that makes the game more enjoyable, I think. So I did already talk about the equipment ledger, but let's, if you just click on this ledger here, it brings up your resources. Now, we don't have many now. Why don't I just grab a few just to give you an idea of what you can do with it. Get that. Maybe get some regents. Maybe some ginseng if we can get it. Nope. Okay, so basically this ledger lets you choose, because you can only hold 12 flags on the right here of resources that you want to track. You can turn on and off which ones that you want to track by clicking on them and setting the flags up. You can also filter through when you have a lot of resources and turn off and on certain ones to make it easy to see what you have. And it also includes things that don't normally show up here, like cooked foods and art objects. And you can also quickly get over to character info just by clicking on this tab. You can go back and forth. So that's it for the new ledgers. They make managing your resources and equipment a lot easier. We also added a couple of new villa buildings, or that is to say at least upgrades for villa buildings. We added upgrades for the dormitorium and implemented the Spensa. The dormitorium's simpler, so let's just take a look at what's available there. Basically, there's 2 upgrades available now. Sort of the most basic one is upgrading insulation. If you buy this, your villa will protect you against frost effects. Basically, you need to use 1 less heat per character in winter conditions when you insulate it, so it's a nice way to save on firewood and keep your peeps kind of heated up. And then there's the sauna, where you can actually spend extra firewood to give yourself resistance to disease and some other bonuses. If you have a lot of firewood, it's a good way to kind of keep your characters healthy. So they're pretty basic, but they add some dimension to taking care of your peeps, and this heat thing is oft requested, so that's useful. Now, the sort of bigger feature that has been implemented for this alpha is the warehouse and storage space. So you can see under the nutrition icon and the heat icon here, there's a new one called storage. And there's 2 values. The one on the left is how many heavy goods you have in storage right now, and the one on the right is how many that you can actually store. So it's pretty abstract, and in case you didn't know, basically anything with an H next to it, you can't see it very well just now, but you get used to which is which. Anything that's heavy takes up space in your warehouse. Anything that's light, like this spider silk, does not. You can store an infinite amount of that. But heavy goods like crops, building resources, stuff like that, takes up space. Now, as long as you have goods that are under this maximum storage amount, your goods will always be safe from disasters like floods, fires, windstorms. But if your storage is too small and you have goods that are overflowing it, all of your goods are at risk for being lost in disasters. So keep your storage, keep the goods that are stored under that maximum number and expand when you need to. So let's take a look at what's available here. Basically, dispense is all about storing stuff, and there's a lot of ways you can go about doing that. A couple of upgrades. The silo is one that you'll probably want to build pretty quickly because wheat takes up a lot of space, and you certainly don't want to be losing wheat in any sort of disaster because you need it to, get through the year. So if you have a silo, your wheat will be protected from all disasters, and it doesn't count against your storage caps. You can have as much wheat as you like, and it won't affect everything else. And the same goes for the woodshed for firewood. If you have a woodshed, you can store as much firewood as you want, and it won't ever be damaged or take up space. The more basic upgrade here, the upgrade to large storehouse, there's 2 of these, and you can just upgrade your max capacity. And another one here, the cellar, only adds 10 storage, unlike these big upgrades, but it reduces perishing on all of your food. So it's sort of like a ancient refrigerator, and is really useful for that, especially if you grow a lot of highly perishing crops or hunt. So yeah, that's basically Dispensa. We'll see if there are any disasters that befall us as we go through here. We'll see if there's something else I need to review. Okay. So one other thing that we added in this alpha is, it was in for a little while, but it wasn't functional. Now it's in and it's real. Is asparagus. So let's plant some asparagus. So asparagus is very much unlike every other crop in the game. It's a perennial plant, which means that unlike an annual or a biannual, which basically grows in 1 year and then dies, or grows for 2 years and then dies, a perennial can renew itself almost indefinitely. It's like a regenerating plant. But they take a long time to grow. They're in no rush. So asparagus, let's plant it here. You can see it already has a 24-month waiting period. And that's because the conditions to have like really delicious asparagus, you don't reach them right away. The first year, the shoots are really small. The second year, you have to kind of wait for a while for it to be like harvestable quality. And the Romans were really serious about asparagus, so they're not going to take any like weedy second-rate asparagus. You got to do it. You got to do it right. So you'll notice that there's no watering drops coming off of it or anything. Asparagus is self-watering, even during a drought. You don't have to worry about it. It's pretty low maintenance. Obviously, it's offset by the fact that it takes a long time to grow. Basically, the only thing you have to do with asparagus, other than harvest it when it's ready, is chop down the fronds that grow in fall, because it's basically to prevent like wood or some kind of pests from overwintering in the fronds, which can really hurt the harvest. So it's just like a tradition that people say helps, and I see no reason not to put it in the game, so it's in there. There'll be an icon that pops up, and then you can click and see, click and then cut it down. And if you don't cut it down, there'll be a hit to the yield of the asparagus. And then the other nice thing about asparagus is once you harvest it, it just keeps growing again. It resets. And then actually after the first 2 years, it only takes a year to grow again. So it's sort of a renewing crop, and you can get yourself some farmland off to the side, just sort of set it and forget it. And asparagus is worth quite a bit in the market, and it's pretty healthy besides. So we'll just keep an eye on that as we go here. So that's pretty much it for asparagus. I think you'll get a kick out of that. Let's see. So now it's time to get into some of the more large things that were added for this alpha, and this actually fairly recently. All of the new husbandry things that are going on. The rancher had an innate ability to see certain things about the animal, like the age, but it turned out that probably the seeing the exact health was something that would be a nice feature, especially since I added hand feeding. So now you can see here, it was called size before, but I think it's just going to be called health to make it clearer, because it's like a fat animal. How is that like healthier? It was vague. So now they just get healthier directly by feeding them, as I'll show you presently. But so the rancher has the ability now to see the health of an animal, which is useful because when you learn the tiers, you'll know how much you need to feed them up. Let's see. So, I guess I'm going to show you hand feeding first because I mentioned it. But let's just go to the market and see if I can get something to hand feed with. No, of course, fish. Alright. Let's just plant something quick like radishes, I guess. Oh, I can't. I'll have to wait for next turn. Alright. Don't want these guys to waste time. I'm going to have Caius do an influence action there. I think I'm going to have Lydia claim this lake with her combat action. Don't really need fish. Guess I'll get some firewood. And I will milk these goats. Alright. Market for stone is spiked. Ah, perfect. So, this is another thing about animals, and it just came up spontaneously, so it's good. You'll notice this little wolf icon came up. It said Balthazar the goat was spooked by nearby wolves. And basically also a wolf icon comes up here to let you know where that happened. Like something of note happened here. So you'll notice that the predator rank is distant, which is low, but they can still possibly spook animals. And it looks like Balthazar was actually spooked, and now he's annoyed. So I won't be getting milk from him for a while. So, distant predators aren't much of a threat, but they can become wary and then aggressive. And if they become aggressive, there's a chance that they can actually kill your animals. So you want to kind of keep predator levels low. And if you have a ranger with tracking or pathfinding, or just a rancher who has this ability automatically, you can see the predator concentration in a pasture. So I can see it's a little bit high, and I'd like to see if I can knock it down. So I'm gonna hunt. Yeah, alright. There we go. Predators none. So I shouldn't have to worry about them. And I managed to get a hide and a great meat from an alpha wolf. So you'll want to keep an eye on that and keep predators down. Because spooked animals, you know, they're annoyed. You can't get milk from them. Stuff like that. It's bad. And hopefully we won't have to deal with much more of that. But if the concentration gets higher, the wolves can also like howl, which affects all the animals in the pasture rather than one. So you want to keep that down if you can. It's kind of a fun element, honestly. I've been meaning to add it for a long time, just because, you know, living in the wild with packs of wolves around and delicious animals can be a problem. And now that animals can breed, it's going to be offset by the fact that they can also be killed. So I think it's going to be good for balance. Now I actually need to get another goat if I want to show you breeding. So let me fence in a pasture and get an animal. Now this would be a good time to mention that we have new animal art thanks to Haley Friedman. We've actually been sitting on this art for a long time, and I've just put off implementing it. But as you can see, we have the baby animals and the adult animals, and they just look great. Look at that goat. Like, I want to have that goat. And I'm going to have that goat. Let's see. The Balthazar and Malthazar. Alright. There we go. So, you know, if we're lucky, they'll do some breeding. Which would be good, because I want to show you how to do that. So, I basically need to just show you hand feeding, but I need to get radishes for that. So let's get some radishes. And I really kind of need some wheat, too. Farmland. Now that is a piece of luck. Okay. Let us move on to the next turn. Oh, right. No, there's one other thing to mention about animals. You'll notice under predators there's a fertilizer. When it gets up to 10 units, I'll be able to show you what it's for. But animals generate fertilizer, which you can then apply to fields to restore their nutrient level immediately. So, you know, I'll show you how that goes. It's another great reason to have animals around. The more animals you have, the more fertilizer you get. So it's sort of just a side benefit to keeping them. I guess I'll have him just chop some more timber. Gotta get those radishes ready. Oh, Lydia's sick. Typical. This rain is brutal. Okay. So I wanted to put some wheat down. what else? Just need to get those radishes. Well, I guess while we're waiting for the radishes, we can take a look at one of the other features that I added for agents, or two of them actually, I guess. I have a number of items here that are sampling from the level 1 thief items that are available with Thiefcraft. I gave him Opportunist just for combat ability, but this stiletto is like a special dagger that agents can make that's a little better than a regular dagger and has more piercing. The Shade Rement is a cloak that actually helps you sort of dodge a little bit and does absorb a little bit of damage. And then I also gave him a poison, which basically means that whenever you strike, there's a chance that you can poison an enemy, which is handy. And all of these items and more you can craft with Thiefcraft, and I added a bunch of them in for both the level 1 and 2 blacksmith. So you'll have fun going through all of those. They all should be fully functional. And I thought I would also mention here that I started off Lydia with a pretty nasty great axe that is not common. I just thought that Caius could use a little backup when we take him out to show you the new stealth. So let's see what's going on here. There's a moderate bandit. There's a low bandit. Let's go see about that moderate bandit. Okay, good. So I hope that music isn't too loud. Anyway, so basically, I'm going to explain how stealth works to you. Caius, so that music is actually kind of distracting, unfortunately. Just got to power through it right now. So Caius is an agent, and he has a natural stealth ability. So at the start of any rounds, a character with stealth will automatically attempt to stealth themselves based on a roll against the spotting value of all the enemies. And so, like, the more enemies there are, and the sharper they are, the harder it is to get that first stealth. So if you succeed at that stealth, then your character is invisible and won't be targeted by any of the enemies until their turn comes up. And when their turn comes up, you can either unstealth and perform a regular attack, or attempt to perform a stealth attack where you can sort of secretly attempt to attack anybody in any row. There's no restriction. And then that person gets one individual chance to spot you. Or, you know, the stealth person. If the stealth person spotted, their attack is cancelled and they lose stealth and nothing happens. If they succeed, they get a good hit on them, on anybody. So it's fairly automatic, and it's pretty fun, so let's give it a try. Yep. Caius is stealthed. And now Lydia is going to do something. I guess she'll charge because she has this great axe. Nice. And shield, but she's bleeding. Okay, so you can see here I have the stealth attack option. Like, normally I wouldn't be able to attack in melee from the back, but stealth attack gets around that. So I'm going to try to stealth attack this guy because he's in the back. And you see it's a delayed action. I'm actually going to move at the end when that happens. Oh man, Lydia's getting tore up. Oh, he got spotted by the archer. He didn't get in there. But he did stealth again. Oh, this isn't too good. Oh man, Lydia is just getting destroyed. A glancing hit. Man, I expected this to be an own fest. Oh my god. If he fails his stealth roll, he's gonna get owned. Nice. That's one down. Alright, thank God. Caius and his fancy stealth got us out of there alive. And Lydia's in critical condition, of course. Oh man, I need some, like, garlic or something. Are they selling that anywhere? No. No meadows for garlic. And Lydia needs to rest, but she's already sick and critically wounded. Oh, it's not good. It's not very good. Alright. I guess I'll, like, milk some goats. And, look around for something else. Oh, loose clay. There are worse things. Oh man, everyone is sick. The violent storms damaged all my crops. Oh man. No ginseng for the disease. Alright. Lydia is so sick she can't even rest. That's crazy. Alright. I'm gonna take these radishes so I can show you hand feeding before this game goes completely sideways. Let's see. So basically, when you have animals to hand feed, you click hand feed, right? And it brings up a display, and these are all the crops that you can hand feed, and you can hand feed one per turn. Now this doesn't take any actions; you just distribute them out if you have them. So I'll show you here. You just click, and it adds to their health, and it takes it away. You know, just hand out a few radishes. Everybody's good. Right click to leave, and that's how that works. Now basically, I'll show you at the next turn. They all lose one little bit of feeding level every turn, so you have to kind of keep feeding them a little bit to keep their levels up. You kind of have to commit to it. But higher level animals have a number of benefits. Like, for example, goats that are in great or higher health, they're easier to milk. They have a slightly higher breeding chance. And also they have a better chance to resist being spooked or hit by predators. So healthier animals are more likely to survive wolf attacks as well. So it's good to feed them up, and it's a good way to use those extra vegetables that would just spoil anyway. There's going to be, now there's some good crossover between husbandry and agriculture that was really supposed to be there all along, but I just hadn't gotten around to implementing. So, yeah, that's more or less everything that I wanted to cover, but... Oh, right, yeah, no, that's right. I actually need to show you fertilizer. It's just... I need 2 more units of it, so... Just have Caius maybe chop some wood, gather some reagents. Oh, Lydia's at least only wounded now. Everyone is in bad shape. Oh yeah, okay. So you can see here that this loam where I had planted the radishes before is down to good nutrition. And you'll see here each pasture collects fertilizer separately, but it's all treated as one supply. I have 11 units, which should be enough. So let's go here and see what happens under Apply Fertilizer. Apply fertilizer to an empty field to immediately boost its nutrient level requires 10 units of fertilizer. Cannot be applied to a field at max nutrient level. And you can see rich loam, and I'm down to 1 unit of fertilizer. So animals will help with your agriculture too, so don't neglect getting one just because even the fertilizer can be really instrumental for you. Yeah, I've pretty much covered that. Oh, yeah, I think it would be worth mentioning though, along with the wolf thing, this Watchful Guardian ability that I took for the Rancher. I mentioned it at the start, but I just thought I might mention it again. Basically, once per month, when the Rancher takes a husbandry action in a pasture, it sort of partially protects the animals in the pasture from wolves. It reduces by a pretty fair amount the chance that wolves will show up, but it can only be applied to 1 pasture per turn. When you level up Watchful Guardian into Fenris Bane, it's a larger bonus and it applies to every pasture you visit. But just know that you have to actually spend an action there, like you have to fence a pasture or milk a goat or something. Hand feeding doesn't count for that. And then also, basically, the Watchful Guardian, you get like half your level bonus with a staff. It's like half as good as an equivalent level fighter. With Fenris Bane, you're basically as good as a warrior with staves. So you can turn the Rancher into a little bit of a fighter. You can get a quarterstaff or a long staff. And later on, we'll be implementing like bladed staffs and stuff. So it's staves. So it's possible that you could get something more elite, and that is my intention. So that's more or less all of the new features that we have for the Alpha 2 here. There's a lot of minor ones that were implemented along the way, just by request or just by necessity. And I'm sure you'll have fun figuring out, seeing what there is to do, but we're really excited to see what everybody thinks of these husbandry editions because they really add a whole dimension to farming that was lacking before. So we hope you enjoyed this little brief playthrough, and we really hope you enjoy playing through yourself and finding everything that this new Alpha FreeHolder has to offer. Thanks very much, and we hope to see you again soon.